How do you succeed in self-publishing if you have a limited budget? This is one of the challenges that I see, and in this video I'm going to give you a few quick tips on how to overcome this. My name is Derek Depker. I'm founder of ebookbestsellersecrets.com. And one of the challenges I see many authors struggling with is that they are starting a book publishing and yet they have limited funds. So they might be in retirement on Social Security, or they're already working a main job and they're doing self-publishing on the side and they don't have a lot of extra funds to spare. And for myself, I got started in self-publishing when I was a broke valet parker. I had barely enough money to pay my bills each month. I remember a particular moment where I looked over, I saw my prized music keyboard from college that I composed a lot of songs on, and that sinking feeling of I'm going to need to sell this on Craigslist just to pay the rent that month. So I can definitely relate to this challenge, and that's how I built my business, was on a shoestring budget. So I have some tips and some perspectives when it comes to this particular topic. So the first thing is, how much does it actually cost to create a successful book-based business or to get a book published? Now, there are ways to shoestring this, so there's ways to really minimize the cost, but I would say if you really want to produce a quality work, you're going to have cover design investment, you're going to have editorial work being done, getting an editor, you have advertising potentially, and these were all things that I still invested in even when the funds were limited. So these can add up. And when it comes to your education on top of that, we're talking about potentially a couple $1,000s to at least get going. Now let's put that in perspective. To start a franchise, I saw the average fee was $20,000 to $50,000 for a franchise business. For a college education, if you invest $5,000 to get education and some resources to launch a book, that's still like a semester or a year at community college, if you find someplace really affordable. So all things, compared to other things out there, it's actually fairly affordable to invest a few $1,000s to get a book out there and get the education on that. That being said, if you don't have just thousands of dollars lying around to invest in it, especially when you're not sure about if it's going to get a return, that can certainly be a stretch for some people, and it was for myself when I got started. So how do you actually raise these funds? Well, one of the things that I don't necessarily suggest is to really skimp on a lot of these things, skimp on the editing, get like a really poor cover design, and try to do it so bare bones that a poor quality book is put out. Because what some authors that are struggling have the mindset, well, let me just do a little bit and put a little bit into my book, and once it starts making money, then I can start investing more into my business. Now, this makes sense up to a point. However, if there's never enough money behind a book in terms of advertising and cover design and all these things to actually get some momentum, it never goes anywhere. It's like trying to launch a rocket. If you only put 50% enough fuel into the rocket, it's going to come crashing down, right? It really is a bit of an all or nothing approach, where there is a minimum threshold in terms of how good of a book you get out there and how much advertising you put into it before you're going to start to see potential for return. So one of the things that I suggest doing, if funds are low, look for ways that you can get a quicker injection of cash. Book publishing, it can be slow. There can be a learning curve. It can take usually at least a couple months to even get your royalty check after a book is out there. So think, what's a quicker way to get money? And I can tell you that it's usually going to be something service-based. And what this means is some of the things that I've seen authors do, like offering editing services. If you are an editor, if you can do audiobook narration, you might choose to do some sort of service that's book related for other authors where you can get an income from it. For myself, I got on Fiverr and I started teaching online guitar lessons, and I reinvested those funds back into my business. So finding some way that you can get funds quicker with another side gig, so to speak, and then using that to support the more long-term game plan of a self-publishing business. I highly encourage this. If you're really low on funds, taking the last little few dollars and putting it into your book-based business might not be the best approach. Find another way to generate some revenue to support this business. Obviously, every situation is unique, but that's generally a good piece of advice for a lot of people. Another benefit of having any type of business, whether it's a book-based business or service business, is there can be some tax breaks and things that you get. And of course, see a specialist in that, certified personal accountant, or anyone that can handle taxes, especially if you're, depending on what country you're in. Another challenge that I would Or here's a mind game that you can play that can help you see if there's some ways to generate some extra income. And it's simply this: if the life of someone that you love depended on you raising, let's say, $5,000 or $10,000 this month, what would you do? Now, if you're anything like me, I wouldn't just sit there and go, well, I guess they're screwed because I don't have that money. I would get into full on calling whoever I needed to call, doing whatever I needed to do to raise that money. So even if you don't know what the answer would be, like I might think, well, I don't know exactly how, when I was valet parking, I don't know how I was going to raise $10,000. Certainly wasn't going to be by working more hours. It never would have happened. But what I might have done is I might have started calling people. I might have started asking around, hey, what's a way that I could raise this money? What's something that I could help out with? What's something that I could co-create with someone? And it's just that mindset that if someone's life depended on you coming up with this money in a short period of time, what's the difference between what you would do then versus what you might be doing now? Where's the gap? And that'll show you the difference in the level of commitment and creativity, whereas when you really need to make something happen, you might be surprised at how much you would do differently than what you're doing right now. So that's a bit of a mind game and something that you can do to get perspective on this. Hope this helps. You can email me any questions or comments, info@ebookbestsellersecrets.com. If you haven't checked out my book, Why Authors Fail, you can get that for free at ebookbestsellersecrets.com/free book. This is Derek Depker. Take care.